faculty members, and students of MIT World Peace University present here. I'm Ashi Chauhan, and I'm your anchor for today's event. Our theme for today's session is governance and administration. India's democratic system, consisting of the executive, legislative, and judiciary, forms the foundation. The executive branch, led by the President and Prime Minister, plays a leading role in implementation of policies to promote socio-economic development, uphold the rule of law, and address the diverse needs of the Indian population. The legislative branch, comprising the Parliament's two houses, has served as a platform for lively debates and enactment of laws that reflect the aspirations and concerns of the people. Similarly, the judiciary, headed by the Supreme Court, has consistently acted as the guardian of constitution, safeguarding fundamental rights and ensuring justice for all. Each of our three pillars need to be strong. Strong in their high ethical behavior and strong in their commitment to national development. However, while celebrating their achievements, it is essential to acknowledge the challenges faced by India's pillars of democracy. One critical aspect is the ongoing pursuit of transparency and accountability, at times which undermines the public interest of the public trust in the system. Strengthening mechanisms for transparency, ethical governance, and effective checks and balance is crucial for preserving the integrity of the democratic institutions. Continuous reforms, active citizen participation, and innovative approaches are essential to further strengthen India's democratic institutions. Over the last 70 years, our country has emerged as the world's largest and one of the best functioning parliamentary democracies in the world. This session aims to explore these themes, identify areas for improvement, and collectively envision a future where the pillars of democracy in India thrive. On this note, I request everyone to rise for the national song. I request everyone to remain standing for the World Peace Prayer.
देवातूति गणे अवधारि गोदी साक्षात् परब्रह्म नमः। ओम आय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। शांति शांति शांति।
Kindly be seated. I request the technical team to play a short film on the memories of late Shri B.Gdeshmukh ji.
MITWPU's Department of Public Policy and Public Concern for Governance Trust, Pune chapter, jointly started organizing late Shri B.G. Deshmukh Memorial Lecture Series from year 2022. The annual public lecture series has been instituted in the honor of late Shri B.G. Deshmukh, IAS, former Cabinet Secretary, Government of India, and Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister. The basic objective behind the annual public lecture series is to explore and enlighten the youth and public about the challenges in governance in India. Late Shri Bhalchandra Gopal Deshmukh, IAS, was an Indian civil servant and served with distinction in various capacities in Maharashtra and Gujarat. Secretary to the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Vasantrao Naik, and Municipal Commissioner. He was appointed Cabinet Secretary in 1986 and in 1989. He was also a secretary in the Ministry of Labour, Central Government, and chairman of the governing body of the International Labour Organization. Shri Deshmukh has several books to his credit, named as A Cabinet Secretary Thinks Aloud, A Cabinet Secretary Looks Around, and Pune to the Prime Minister's Office, A Cabinet Secretary Looks Back. He was also the chief guest for the first UPSC National Felicitation Program in 2009. Other two founders of the organization are Sri J.F. Ribeiro, IPS retired, former Commissioner of Police, Mumbai, and Dr. R.K. Anand, a pediatrician, former Medical Director, Deshmukh Hospital and Research Center, Mumbai. Public Concern for Governance Trust came into existence in the year 2002 when good and straightforward officers were being humiliated by the political leadership. The idea of taking up cudgels on behalf of good and honest officers and targeting corruption as the main cause for the choices of the politicians was born. MITWPU Department of Public Policy, our endeavor is to create mindful citizens and ambassadors of action. We appeal to kindly participate with your benevolent spirit to carry forward the initiative to make us responsible stakeholders in the public making.
Thank you so much, technical team. Moving ahead, I would like to invite Dr. Anjali Sane ma'am, Associate Dean, School of Economics and Commerce, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Ashi. Good morning, all. Thank you. On behalf of our founder president, revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir, Executive President Shri Rahul Karad sir, Executive Director Dr. Aditi Karad ma'am, Vice Chancellor Dr. R.M. Chitnis sir, Dean Dr. Gunjit Kaur, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the staff and students of MIT World Peace University, I consider it my proud privilege to propose the welcome address for today's function. On behalf of the entire team at MIT World Peace University, as well as on behalf of the Public Concern for Governance Trust, I welcome Shri Sunil Arora sir former Chief Election Commissioner of India. Students, it is indeed our proud privilege to welcome such a senior dignitary on our campus who himself is a role model not just for all of us, but also for the bureaucrats as well as the common citizens of Mother India. I would also like to welcome the dignitaries from the Public Concern for Governance Trust. I welcome Shri Ajit Nimbalkar sir, IAS retired and a member of the PCGT. I would also like to welcome our own family member, Shri Mahesh Zagade sir, who is the chairman of PCGT and is a constant source for us, especially at the Department of Public Policy. I would also like to welcome all the other eminent members of PCGT who are present here today, all the faculty members. Importantly, I would like to welcome all the students of today. Dear sir, I would like to tell you that today we are joined by the students of the first year of the program of Public Policy, Economics, Commerce, BBA and MBA. Most of them will be voting for the first time in the upcoming elections. And dear students, we are very lucky indeed that we are born in a country like India and have the opportunity to exercise our rights. In the current scenario, I feel it is our utmost important duty to exercise this right, and who better to guide us on the topic of the state of pillars of democracy than the Chief Election Commissioner himself, who has seen both sides of the scenario. So on behalf of all of us, once again, I welcome Shri Sunil Arora sir for the B.Gdeshmukh lecture series and look forward to his address. I would also urge Shri Mahesh Zagade sir and Ajit Nimbalkar sir for a long-term association with the Department of Public Policy and keep guiding us in our future endeavors as well. Once again, welcome one and all, and look forward to hearing you, Sunil Arora sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now a privilege and honor to extend a warm welcome and heartfelt appreciation to our distinguished individuals gracing the dais today. I request Anjali Sane ma'am to felicitate Shri Sunil Arora sir. I also request ma'am to felicitate Shri Ajit Nimbalkar sir. We also have with us Shri Mahesh Zagade sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. It is my immense pleasure to introduce Shri Ajit Nimbalkar sir. Sir completed his Master of Arts in Political Science and Public Administration from Bombay University and joined the Indian Administrative Service in 1967. During 37 years of his service in IAS, he held several posts at the state as well as the central government. He was the Secretary to the Chief Minister, Chairman of Maharashtra State Electricity Board, as well as Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Maharashtra State Road Development Corporation. He was also Special Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs and later Secretary Defense Production in the Government of India. The government of Maharashtra recalled him in October 2002 to head the state administration as Chief Secretary Maharashtra. In 2011, he settled down in Pune and associated with socio-charitable activities such as Nivara, Y.V. Chavan Trust, Pune International Center, etc. In 2020, the government of Maharashtra appointed Sir as the chairman of Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj Research Training and Human Development Institute, which is engaged in training and employment. I would request Sir to introduce late Shri B.Gdeshmukh Sir and also address the gathering.
The Arora, dignitaries on the dais, and friends. Most of you must be aware of Shri B.Gdeshmukh's career. This is an annual lecture which PCGT holds in honor of him, and you must have heard about him during these discussions. But I will speak a few words about Shri Deshmukh. I have divided it into 5 parts. Shri Deshmukh, the administrator, which covers a major portion of his career. Shri Deshmukh in the private sector, when he worked after retirement from government service. Shri Deshmukh as a social activist, when he was passionately involved in good governance. And fourth, Shri Deshmukh as an author, as a writer. And lastly, Shri Deshmukh as a person. Mr. Deshmukh is a Pune person. He was brought up in Pune, etc., and joined the IS in 1951. This was the second batch of the IS which started after independence. All of you know about ICS, the steel frame. There was a question whether ICS should be continued or not, what should be the nature of the institution after independence. And thanks to Sri Jawaharlal Nehru and Vallabhbhai Patel, IS was constituted. But there was a question how the IS would behave. ICS, the steel frame, largely looked after law and order and continued good administration during the British period. It served the interest of the British at that time. The IS role was different. It had to work along with the politicians. In a democracy setup, the elected representatives are the masters. And India was embarking on, after independence, on development. So while ICS was basically law and order, IS had to work in the development field. And therefore, the first few batches of the IS were watched by all with a certain interest. And Mr. Deshmukh's batch and batches along were therefore played an important role in further establishment of administration in the country. Mr. Deshmukh was allotted first to the Bombay state at that time, then later on to the Maharashtra cadre. He, as was just told earlier, he worked in various fields in the general administration, and he was the first secretary to the chief minister who established a secretariat in the chief minister's office. Earlier secretaries were, the chief minister had a PS, so to CM, but a full-fledged CM secretariat was established during Mr. Deshmukh's time. This is an important development not only here, but you see even at the central level, you have the Prime Minister's Secretariat, which works according to the wishes of the Prime Minister. Here it was at the CM. Later on, he worked as Municipal Commissioner, Bombay, and then went to Government of India. In the Home Ministry, he was there as Additional Secretary. And on promotion, he was working as Secretary Labour, Government of India. He worked for 4 years in that department. I worked also in the Ministry of Labour, so I've seen closely the work that he did in the ministry. In 1985, he was selected as the chairman of the Governing Council of the ILO, which he chaired with dignity and decorum. In 1985, he was posted as Chief Secretary. Maharashtra came back there. And at that time, I still remember, I was posted to the Government of India in the Ministry of Labour itself only, as Joint Secretary. And interestingly, Mr. Deshmukh, I went from Maharashtra after seeing Mr. Deshmukh as Chief Secretary, and when I went to Government of India in the Labour Ministry, in the Secretary Labour, there was a nameplate of course, Mr. HMS Bhatnagar, who was appointed as Secretary. We'll continue with a brief introduction about it. Mr. Deshmukh later on, when he was from Chief Secretary Maharashtra, normally he would have retired, but Rajiv Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister, recalled him as Cabinet Secretary. He went to Delhi. He served with distinction as Cabinet Secretary. Subsequently, when he retired as Cabinet Secretary, he was appointed as Secretary to the Prime Minister. He worked as Secretary to Prime Minister with 3 Prime Ministers, Rajiv Gandhi, VP Singh, and Mr. Chandrasekhar, all 3 of them with distinction. Retired from that post and joined the private sector. He was on the board of directors of Tata's. He looked after Tata Housing and other departments in the Tatas. But he, once he had retired from government service, it was he came into the arena of public service, and he was passionate about good governance about it. And therefore, he started interacting with various organizations about it. He worked with the Bombay Natural History Society. He worked with Prince of Wales Museum. He worked with the Mohalla committees. He was also associated with Mumbai First. And in Pune, he established the Janwani and PCGT, Public Concern for Good Governance. He was active in all the spheres and trying to organize social workers and create an awareness of the need for good governance. That was his passion about it. He established Agni, Janwani, and PCGT in collaboration with people like Mr. Ribeiro and Gasol Taguna, etc. He took on powerful organizations, irrespective as to their weight in political activities. When a strike was organized in Bombay, a Bandh was organized, Mumbai Bandh, by a political party, he, along with Gasod Akuna and the organization Agni, went to the High Court and challenged it about it. It finally ended with the High Court levying a fine of 20 lakhs on the organizations. After Mr. Deshmukh also wrote several books relating to his era in administration. There's a Marathi book, Pune to Pradhan Mantri Karyalaya. Then a cabinet secretary looks back, a cabinet secretary looks around, a cabinet secretary thinks aloud, etc. These throw an intimate light on the working of administration during his age. Mr. Deshmukh was also a beneficial donor to causes that he believed in. He unfortunately had certain incidents in his personal life. He lost his first wife early. He had one daughter, married again his second wife. But while he was secretary to the Prime Minister, his daughter, who was only child, who was in her 20s, passed away. I was in government at that time, I remember. He was a shattered man at the time. Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister. He led him to his house. But he battled all these tragedies and bounced back to serve the people and the state. He continued his activities even after retirement. He lost his second wife also. When he passed away, he was a lonely man. But he had settled in Pune itself in 2011, I think he passed away. And at that time, he was by himself staying in Pune. He started donating a lot of money in his last few years to good causes about it. There were causes which he thought would do well, and they donated a lot of money about it. CGT, which was established because of him, holds him in high regards and therefore organizes this annual lecture in his memory. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, I request the technical team to play a short film on National Legislature's Conference, Bharat.
anything you desire for the welfare of a person, this Constitution paves a way for you to achieve your goal.
दफा एक सम्मेलन हुआ था मुंबई में और वो इतिहास बन करके रह जाए, ऐसा नहीं।
जो आप सभी विधायकों की अपेक्षा थी, एक व्यूज शेयर कर, डाइवर्स व्यूज को सुनना और उन्हें जाकर अपने अपने स्टेट्स में इम्प्लीमेंट करना, मैं समझता हूँ ये राहुल कराड जी के इनिशिएटिव से निश्चित रूप से पूरी हुई है।
When we are working for the people, we must take help of the society.
समाज की प्रगति हो जाए तो हमारे खुद की भी प्रगति हो जाएगी। इसको ध्यान में रख कर अगर हम काम करें तो मैं समझता हूँ विधानसभाओं में होने वाला काम भी बहुत अच्छा होगा।
मुझे अच्छा लगा जब राहुल जी ने अलग अलग विधायकों ने जो अपने अपने विधानसभा क्षेत्र के अंदर जो नई प्रैक्टिस अपनाई, उनका परिदृश्य, उनकी प्रगति मैंने देखी।
Anything you desire for the welfare of a person, this Constitution paves a way for you to achieve your goal.
दफ़ा एक सम्मेलन हुआ था मुंबई में और वो इतिहास बन करके रह जाए, ऐसा नहीं।
जो आप सभी विधायकों की अपेक्षा थी, एक व्यूज़ शेयर करना, डाइवर्स व्यूज़ को सुनना और उन्हें जाकर अपने अपने स्टेट्स में इम्प्लीमेंट करना, मैं समझता हूँ ये राहुल कराड जी के इनिशिएटिव से निश्चित रूप से पूरी हुई है।
Every work, when we are working for the people, we must take help of the society.
समाज की प्रगति हो जाए तो हमारे खुद की भी प्रगति हो जाएगी। इसको ध्यान में रख कर अगर हम काम करें तो मैं समझता हूँ विधानसभाओं में होने वाला काम भी बहुत अच्छा होगा।
मुझे अच्छा लगा जब राहुल जी ने अलग अलग विधायकों ने जो अपने अपने विधानसभा क्षेत्र के अंदर जो नई प्रैक्टिस अपनाई, उनका परिदर्शन।
The technical team to play the film on Arora sir.
Is the man rich leadership experience of over 30 years heading key departments while driving governance and policy reform initiatives both at the Government of India and state levels. Shri Sunil Arora, the true believer and follower of the system. Shri Sunil Arora is a former Chief Election Commissioner of India from 2018 to 2000. Prior to assuming charge as Chief Election Commissioner, he had been serving as Commissioner of India since September 2017. Shri Arora is a retired civil servant belonging to the Rajasthan cadre. He has also served as Secretary to Government of India in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, where he spearheaded several initiatives including curation and preservation of feature and non-feature films through digitization, review of film certification framework via the Sham-Benegal Committee, breaking the statement of FTII, an extensive INB cadre review, and digitization of cable space, to name a few. He also led the administrative and policy reforms to revitalize the then Indian Airlines as its chairman and managing director from 2000 to 2005, first 2 years of which overlapped with his tenure as Joint Secretary in Ministry of Civil Aviation. We warmly
I'm a doctor representing the PCGT, and despite my advice to Shri Sunil Arora to not give the talk, I think Mr. Arora is very, very keen to talk to the students of MIT. So can we please give him a big hand, and very, very keen to listen to his talk.
Last week. All the students and scholars gathered here, my seniors in the service will always remain seniors as per the civil services norms. The day before yesterday, I had a bit of fever. It became more than a bit of fever. And yesterday it worsened, but this is the third time that I had committed but could not come to MIT. So, friends, I had to come. And I'm here before you. Subject is very interesting. And I was told by Honorable Dr. Saab to not to stand sad, but I said no. All my life, whenever I have spoken only standing. So now I can't start sitting down. I'm just 67. I think I'm not very old, but fever is something, fever and cough or something which can happen to anybody. So I humbly apologize that I'm not in the so-called pink of health, but also would like to start with a couplet. आवादत से उलझकर मुस्कुराना मेरी फितरत है. आवादत से उलझकर मुस्कुराना मेरी फितरत है. मुझे दुश्वारियों में अश्क बरसाना नहीं आता. The subject that has been assigned to me is state of pillars of democracy in India. It's a very difficult subject. And this subject requires a kind of full day debate by various scholars, by various seniors and others. If you see judiciary, for example, the worst time probably was ADM Jabalpur and Supreme Court of India. In fact, you'll pardon this much, I have to go and forth today. I think that from 67, no, I'm okay also. From 67 onwards, we're gradually starting losing our innocence as a country. And by 70s, we completely lost it, more or less. We had supersessions in judiciary. We had Justice Sherrod, Justice Grover, and one more very eminent gentleman who was superseded. We had ADM Jabalpur judgment, in which Justice H.R. Khanna was the only one who gave a note of dissent in a unanimous, in a large bench. I don't know whether the two are linked or not, but I am told that in the Hall of Fame of the Honorable Supreme Court, there are portraits of Chief Justice, Chief Justice, Chief Justice. Only one portrait of a retired Supreme Court judge, Honorable Justice H.R. Khanna, which is where it deserves to be. But at the same time, every institution of India, they have retrieved themselves and the times became better. Bearing, if I may be permitted to say by my seniors, the executive. Because the executive, being executive, kind of has its own. Any case, as I said, 70s again, we had words like committed executive, committed bureaucracy, committed judiciary, which was never the case earlier. For coming here, I tried to read several old books by Rajamohan, for example, who has Rajamohan Ji, for example, who has written about Sardar Patel. The first paragraph itself, the first page itself, the preface is so instructive. He said that being the ancestor, being from that family, from Rajakumaracharya family and Mahatma Gandhi family, I would be failing in my justice if I do not try to do justice to Sardar Patel in this volume. I would make a point to send most of you, especially the seniors, would already have gone through it. But I'll also make it a point to send it across to you, because that book by itself shows the decline and also the heights which India achieved at the time of partition. When Sardar Patel and Mr. V.P. Menon, they literally bulldozed. Bulldozer is a currently fashioned word, but literally bulldozed the princely states to fall in line and become a part of India. The Britishers, with all due regards, there was a word used for Britishers for a long time, even after they had left, and that word was deep state. Unfortunately, that deep state was headed by Sir Winston Churchill, who never wanted India to be free. Remember all the old haughty dialogues which he spoke. The representative of a naked fakir will go the stairs of King Viceroy representative to talk to him. And he was the one who, after independence of India, when Pandit Nehru went there for the first time, he kept on kind of playing on his stick and saying, light of Asia, indicating towards Pandit Nehru. And what did we have? Indian states, India, Pakistan. Some of the old issues of Pakistan, take it, Jammu Kashmir for example, if not Hyderabad and Junagadh now, because Hyderabad, Junagadh are now an old story. They remained festering for years and years and years and years. And they are still festering. Although to the eternal and perennial character of the present government, whatever anybody may say, this abolition of Article 370 is one of the biggest steps which any abrogation of 370 is one of the biggest steps which any government of free India could have taken. And I'm sure most of you would agree with that. Agree करते हैं कि नहीं आप? तो ताली तो बजा दीजिए. अच्छा लगेगा. So we had many issues. We had Junagadh, and we also had internally, we knew Junagadh, the rulers was from X community, religion, the population is from Y religion. But bulldozing all, Sardar Patel and Mr. V.P. Menon, who started as a steno and became the Secretary of State, they kind of united India. They unified India. I still remember the minutes, not the minutes, but the discussion which took place around J&K. And the army chief or deputy chief, he was sitting, and still you had the British person as the chief of army staff. And very tense moments. And the Deputy Chief of Army said, "Sir, I want my orders." And Sardar Patel said, "You have your orders. Go ahead." Nobody spoke after that. Nobody spoke after that. So, my colleagues, it was not an easy thing. If you would probably remember, वो कौन सी मूवी थी दिलीप कुमार की, हम लाए हैं तूफान से कश्ती निकाल के, वो वाकई सही बात थी वो, इस देश को रखना मेरे बच्चों संभाल के. It was factually a correct thing. What happened, I mentioned to the loss of innocence by Indian Republic 67 and definitely post 70s. All my seniors here, they have much more experience of life, of services than I have, but they would remember that this indeed happened. And it was also prevented by God's grace, by the determined effort of some people, and in totality, the overall what should I say, determination of the citizenry. That people have realized that if we want a united India, we have to take some hardcore steps. But executive, when it came to this executive committed part, that part was probably not a period to be proud of it. Legislature has always tried to kind of be a, जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं पथ प्रदर्शक. My friends, a whole lot of you may think it's boring and all that. ये क्या बोले जा रहा है? For God's sake, if you get time, please read the debates of Constituent Assembly. Those debates are some of the most crystallized, pithy, collated wisdom any country can ever have. What Dr. Ambedkar said, what Nehru said, each and every one of them, what Sardar Patel said. Let me give you another example. You think that creation of civil services was an easy thing? To create civil services out of virtually nothing and to give them a constitutional protection. To create election commission and give them a constitutional protection under Article 324. If you get even half day, 1 day of your time, please do read the debates of Constituent Assembly. And you will realize that what all, those who have read it, congratulations. Those who have not, kindly do it. It's the request of somebody who has spent years and years in civil services to my young colleagues. And I was told by one of my very brilliant colleagues that, sir, I will draft a speech for you who has just returned from Princeton. I didn't stop him. I would, because he has worked very, very hard, I would leave a copy with you, madam. This is not the crux of what I have spoken today. You take whatever you like. You don't take whatever you think should not be taken. It's entirely for you and your editorial board to decide. right? And I think in my present physical condition, I would just say that I am grateful to you for having come here. I am grateful that I took a lot of your time. I am grateful for a bit of sideshow sitting on the stage, which was not at all intended. And I am grateful to you, especially my seniors, who have a crystallized experience of lifetime to be here to kind of get associated with this kind of subject. This is not an ordinary subject. It's a very difficult subject. I don't know what prompted the MIT school to give such a subject, because this subject has too many kind of circles within circles. I'm also happy to see my old friend Vishwesh Kulkarni here. He is the one person who has really done human's job and skills in Pune. And I started knowing him as secretary skills way back in 2014. Can you just show your, can we clap him? It's a life dedicated to skills, on which I am told that I have to say something tomorrow to the students. And with this, I will at least take my leave today. I have left a text with her, and that text can be circulated with due editing amongst you all. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. A standing ovation for Sir. With his unwavering dedication, in spite of his health, he stood up here and gave the address. Kindly be seated. We also have with us Shri Mahesh Zagre sir, Chairman, Public Concern. We have with us Shri Mahesh Zagre sir, who will be proposing the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Dignitaries on dais and in the audience and my student friends. I am really thankful to the former CEC, Honorable Sunil Arora ji, who is not well today. In fact, we have been requesting on stage for him not to speak because he is not well. But his resolve is such that no, I am going to speak. He refused to speak from the chair. He wanted to come here and share his thoughts on the podium. So I must thank him for sharing his thoughts, enlightening us, enlightening the students. And coming from the background that he had held the position of Chief Election Commissioner of the largest democracy in the world. It's a very, very, very huge responsibility. And the person who had held this responsibility has his own thoughts about the 4 pillars of democracy, which he has elucidated in such a beautiful words, and we'll be sharing the text also. MIT will do that. I'm thankful to him for coming over here, and especially despite his health condition, he came and spoke with us. I thank him, I profusely thank him from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the PCGT, the MITWPU, the Vice Chancellor of this university, and the Chancellor, Dr. Professor Karad, Rahul Karadji, and everyone around us. PCGT also thanks the MITWPU for partnering with us in holding this annual B.Gdeshmukh Memorial Lecture. This is the series which we try to hold every year to enlighten the society, enlighten the students about the challenges faced by the country regarding the administration, about what is happening in the current affairs, and of course the democratic setup of the country. So this year we were really blessed with the words of the person who was at the helm of affairs in managing the affairs of the elections of this country. Friends, PCGT, let me tell you one thing, is one organization that is trying to, and this organization is composed of many senior retired IAS officials who have held the positions like chief secretaries and director of police. There are many such officers here, and we are trying to put some sense in the society about the administration, honesty, integrity, handholding of the honest officers, and of course, taking on the elements that are not on the right side of the society, who indulge in corruption and all those things. Let me tell you one thing to all the students present here. If you want to join PCGT as interns, or if you want to have some kind of assignments, we are there to do handholding. And you can connect with us through your faculty members here. We had been doing this for many years. We also take up the issues about the national importance and international importance sometimes. We propose the policy changes to the governments, national or the state governments, and the local authorities also. So if you have any such issues, you can bring it to the notice of PCGT, and we can definitely take it up to the concerned authorities. I thank the members of PCGT, the audience, the faculty, and everyone around here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I request everyone to rise in their seats for the national anthem.
I request